Hello.
Hello. Oh, sorry, I thought it was me.
Yeah. Well, hi, Lixie. So, hi and welcome to the Single Women's Empowerment podcast and club. I'm so excited to have you online. I'm like so excited to have you as part of the podcast. For those of you who don't know Lixxy Harkcom is a high performance coach. And actually, I know Lixie kind of on a personal level. She's an all-round high performance queen. She's got an amazing job. She has an amazing business. She is an amazing performer in every area of her life. She's got like this beautiful morning routine. So Lixie, I am so excited to have you here. Well, I know that you work with high performance women and ambitious women who are trying to achieve more both in their business and in their careers, and also help them understand that the relationship is not the be all and end all of their life, and how to be more themselves outside of a relationship so they can achieve more and be okay with being just who they are, which is very similar to what I'm all about. So I am like, girl, I got you and me both. Like, so Lixie, without further ado, please tell us a little bit about you.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here. So I have an amazing career that I've built over the last kind of 5 or 6 years or so in technology sales. The beginning of my 20s were kind of rocky. I got divorced, so it's not a great start to the decade. But that kind of put me on a path to the job that I've got now, and I've been thankfully I'm very grateful that I've been managed to be quite successful at that. And then last year, I decided I wanted to help other women do similar things. So where they're kind of feeling unfulfilled or not like they're living up to their full potential, and how they can kind of build on the skills that they've absolutely already got, to excel in their kind of career and their life.
Yeah, amazing. If you don't mind, can we ask you a couple of questions
Of
around
course,
the
please do.
divorce? So, I mean, I know that you got divorced at 21, which is really young. How has that had an impact on your career, and how has that helped you get to where you are now?
So it was a yeah. Sorry, I got married at 20, and I was getting divorced by 21. So the marriage did not last very long because it was not right at all. I shouldn't have. Looking back now, I absolutely shouldn't have done it. It was a terrible idea. And at that point, I was in a really kind of low place. Having to tell people when you're kind of early 20s that you're divorced was not an easy conversation to have.
Yeah.
Um, but now I don't care. I will tell everybody. I don't mind. I'm pretty happy. I think this year would have been my 10-year wedding anniversary. So we're going to have a party because it's hilarious. Um, and it's just it's one of those kind of things that you look back on now and you're like, I can't believe I did that. That's hilarious. But yeah, that definitely put me in kind of a dark place then. And I didn't really know what I was doing with my life. I was in kind of a dead end job. Um, and I kind of sat there and I was like, this is ridiculous. Why have I let myself get into this mess? What am I doing with my life? Because at that point I had absolutely no idea. So I'd ended up back kind of living with mum on her sofa, and it was just this whole mess. And I had a new boyfriend at the time he'd moved to London, and we were doing a long distance thing. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do that. So I applied for a job in London, moved up there, and it ended up being literally the best thing I've ever done. And I'm so glad that I took that terrifying step and moved 100 miles away from where I live, for this job that I didn't even really understand the job requirement when I took the job. But I've been doing this 6 years now, and I absolutely love it, and it's the best thing I've ever done.
See, that's amazing. That's such a great story. Like, I love that you took a leap of faith and just moved and just went for
Yeah.
it. And I think a lot of women are afraid of that leap of faith. They get all these signals and signs to go for it, and then they just don't.
Mm.
So, how do you know what is the next right step for you? Or what is the little signs and signals that go off with you that say, this is it?
I think it's that even though it's a scary thought, like nothing changes if you, what's the saying? Like nothing changes if you don't change.
That's it.
So although it is terrifying and you don't want to do it because it's scary, often you're scared because you know it's the right thing to do. So it's kind of listening to yourself and understanding that although it is scary and it's the beginning of it's gonna be kind of terrifying, just do it anyway. Just kind of push yourself off the cliff and get it done because you'll be so glad that you did, I think.
Oh, always. You're always happy when you take that leap of faith. It's like a little invitation to just like go. So how did you end up being, or not end up being, what's the journey to becoming a high performance coach, and how did you get here?
So I've been doing the job that I'm in now for, as I said, for 6.5 years, I think now. And in that time, I managed to quadruple my income through promotions and things. And then when I was I think it was 2019, when I was 28, I set myself a target of hitting six figures before I turned 30, which I hit last year before I turned 30, which was amazing.
Go on, you
And
good thing.
thank you. It was awesome. It was one of those really big goals that you kind of set it and you're like, right, I want to do this, and then you're kind of like, was that too big? Have I kind of shot too far? So it was really nice when that eventually came, when that did come in and happen. But it was at that point that I kind of realized how much I've achieved in kind of such a short space of time. So that, looking back at the last decade of my life, going from entering a marriage that absolutely was not good for me, and then at the end of the decade having hit six figures, is kind of an amazing achievement, I think. And
So
I
huge.
thank you. And I want to help other people do the same thing. I want to help other women who aren't in the best place get to kind of the dream life that they've always thought of. And being able to use what I've done and help other people, I think, is a really worthwhile way to spend my life. So
Oh, totally. Absolutely. And that is a huge transition. Like you at 21 to you now, they're like chalk and cheese. Like even
mm,
when you said at the beginning that you were in a dead end job, you're in like such a great job and you're such a high performer within your job. So I mean, like, who is old Lixie?
exactly. And
Where'd
it's
she
it's
go?
funny, obviously, Lixie, I don't know if you know this, but Lixie is not my given name. That's not what mum kind of decided was my
Yeah.
name when I was born. But my real name is Alex, Alix, and we name them now two different people. So me in the beginning of my 20s, when I was in that place, that is Alex. And then the person that I am now is absolutely Lixie, and I'm a completely different person. And I think if I met anyone now that I'd known back then, I don't think they'd recognize me as a person at all, because I've changed so much over the years.
Oh my God, I actually do the same thing. So, like, my name's Christina, and I call the old version of me Christina, and I'm just like, Christina was a mental person. I'm Christina. I've come back to
Yeah,
being
for sure.
Christina now, so I'm happy out. But even my nicknames, people used to call me Chrissy in my 20s, and nobody calls me that in my 30s. It's like, it's either Christina or Stina. And I'm like, thank God, Chrissy, she hadn't her shit together at all. Who was she? Um, you mentioned about women being okay on their own and, looking into themselves and being their true selves. How do you think being on your own, or why do you think being on your own is really important for women and coming into themselves first?
Because I don't think you can be happy in any situation if you're not happy with yourself first. And I learned that. So after I got divorced, I mentioned I got with another person that I went to move to London with. That relationship failed. I then had another one, which also didn't go very well. And I realized that it was, although there was fault on their part, it was also a lot to do with kind of how I behave when I'm in relationships as well. That was part of the problem. It very much became kind of anything that I wanted kind of got forgotten, and I didn't really look after my kind of my mindset and my what I wanted. I put everything kind of on them and what they wanted. And yeah, and after the last one ended, I was sort of like, this is ridiculous. Like, I need to kind of take back control of my happiness. Like, it's my choice to be doing these things, and if I'm not happy in myself, I'm not going to be happy in. I could find kind of Mr. Right tomorrow,
Mhm.
or could have done back then, and it still wouldn't have worked because I wasn't in the right place for it. There was just no way it was gonna work. So I've been single now for two years, I think. And I'm a lot happier for it because I'm just in a much better place. And I think it's really important for any woman that is looking for kind of the kind of getting married or whatever, to make sure that they're really comfortable in their own skin and what they're doing for themselves before they invite someone else into that life, for sure.
Snaps for Lixie on that one. Yes. Like I'm single since October 2017 is what I kind of mark it as. But I mean, and I've had little relationships in and out, but I love how much of me I am now. Like
Mm,
the true and authentic me that's here, and how happy I am and how thriving. And if I met someone 6 months ago, I wouldn't have been ready. I still wouldn't
mm,
have been ready. And even today I'm still working on stuff. So I'm kind of like, I'm probably more ready than I was, but like if Mr. Right came along,
yeah.
I'd still be kind of going, not right now. Just give me
Yeah.
another minute. Like, just can you come back in 2 weeks' time? Check in, see how I'm
Yeah,
at,
yeah.
what's
See
going
okay
on.
on.
Do you want to just swap WhatsApps and I'll just let you know when
We'll
I'm
just keep in touch.
yeah. You mentioned mindset. I'm all about mindset. In fact, I always say to my own clients, success is 80% mindset and 20% what you do. Like, how do you look after your mindset, or what are your top tips and tricks?
Yeah, so I never used to do any work on mindset. I didn't realize kind of how important it was until the last kind of few years, that it's not just going to happen by itself. You have to actively work. It's like a muscle. You have to
Oh,
continually
yeah.
work it so that it kind of builds, and it gives you what you need. So every day now I do three things. So I meditate every day. Only, and I'm not great at, this. I don't like sitting still or being quiet. So I found this really challenging to start with. But I would start with, like, I do like 2 minutes of meditating a day, like guided meditation, and I start with 2 minutes. I'm up to 10 minutes currently. So I've managed to build up to 10 minutes, and I want to continue. I want to make that longer and longer. So I think that's key. Just taking some time to sit quietly with your thoughts. It just gives you that kind of space to reset. And one of the things that I learned while meditating is, obviously, the thoughts come in, and you kind of learn what your brain is focused on, I think, because you give yourself the space to, like, let the thoughts come in, and then you can see what's most important or front of mind at the moment. So yeah, that's the first one.
Mhm.
The second one is journaling. So I keep a gratitude journal, and I fill that in every day, just to remind me of all the amazing things that are in my life. Because otherwise, what are we doing here? If we don't kind of sit back and reflect on the amazing things that we do, then what's the point in doing them? Um,
Exactly.
yeah, so I
Why?
do that every day. And then the last one, I've gotten really into affirmations. And I know that some people, I was one of these people thinking they're a bit woo woo. But the way I look at them now is, it's training your brain to focus on what you want to be doing. So let's take, for example, one of the ones I'm doing at the moment is, I achieve all of my goals. And it's just reminding your brain, or training your brain, that you are a person that reaches your goals. And it just keeps it kind of forefront of your mind all the time. So when you're doing things that don't necessarily help you towards your goal, you've kind of got that loop in the back of your head saying, wait, I'm a person that achieves my goals, I probably shouldn't be doing this, and I should be focusing on whatever the goal is. So yeah, so that's the three things: is meditation, journaling, and affirmations, for sure. And I do
I
those twice a day.
I love it. I'm like, I love meditating. I don't get out of my bed until I've meditated. I kind of see it the same as brushing your teeth. Like, how rude
Yeah,
would it be to go to the gym without your teeth washed? Same
exactly.
with it, without brushing your brain. I'm really sorry. Molly has decided now that she's going to join the podcast. For those of
My
you who
God.
don't, for those of you who don't know Molly, she's my bulldog, but she is a constant guest in everything I do. Affirmations. I'm like you. I used to think, what a load of nonsense. I'm not going to stand in the mirror and be like, I am the queen of my universe. I am motivated. And I used to go, what a load of boring BS. And it's only in the last like 9 months or so that I've kind of been like, okay, I'll give them a shot. And I actually created affirmations in line with my human design. And now I'm like, I get it, I've got it, and I see how they work. I see that I need 1,000 repetitions because of that stupid defined ajna that I've got. But I'm like, yeah, I'm like all about it now. I'm like,
Love it.
do they really help? So is that what you would recommend to other women, or are there other tips that you would sort of recommend to ambitious women who are trying to achieve their own goals?
Yeah, so that's probably the first thing, because I think it's, mindset is 80% and skills is 20%. So I think
Mhm.
working on your mindset to begin with is absolutely key. You kind of need to, that's the foundation, I think, for everything. So you need to get that right before you can start working on everything else, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Mindset is everything.
Yeah.
I would love to know. I know you've shared your meditation, your journaling, and your affirmations routine. Are there other habits or rituals that you put into place that keeps you, that kicks you off your day, and then also helps you unwind? And officially, Molly has joined us. Sorry about this.
Yeah, so I'm really big on my morning and evening routine. I think a lot of people put a lot of pressure on, like, the morning routine, but
Yeah.
the evening routine I find just as important as well. Because if you haven't got a good evening routine, you're not going to sleep very well, and then you can't do a morning routine. So I'll talk through the evening routine, and then I'll talk about my morning routine. So in the evening, I'll do my mindset work. So I'll do my journaling and my affirmations. I put my phone away an hour before bed, so that you don't have the blue light interfering with your sleep pattern. And then I'll read for an hour, like a whatever book it is. At the moment I'm reading The Rules of Living Well by Richard Templar, which is, I mean, amazing. It's just a book of rules that he thinks that you should live by, and there's a whole series of them. But yeah, I highly recommend those.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
so yeah, and then I'll read for an hour, and then I will sleep for 8 hours. I try and get my 8 hours every night because I think that's really important.
So
Um,
important.
but yeah, I think doing the evening routine and giving yourself the time to kind of wind down after what most of us have is really busy days, I think is really important. And it's nice to just spend some time by yourself. I live in a flat with three other people, so just I'm obviously the first one that goes to bed every night because I give myself that time. So it's nice just like sitting in my room. I've got like low lighting and just sitting by myself for an hour before I shut off for the night, which is cool. And then in the morning, I do the same thing. So I'll do my um, journaling. I do my affirmations on the way to the gym, and then I work out every morning. So I will be in the gym at 6 o'clock every morning to do my workout, because I don't like spending the day having not done some exercise in the morning. And I know 6 a.m. is a bit early for a lot of people, so you don't all have to be up at 6, don't worry. But I think getting your heart rate moving in the morning in whatever way, even if it's you just walk around the block or you do 10 minutes of yoga, just get your heart rate going in the morning because it wakes you up.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
like if nothing else, like obviously it's healthy and it's good for you, but it gets your brain working. And instead of having, I used to kind of roll out of bed, just get ready for work, and off I went. And it just, the difference between doing that and then actually getting up with intention in the morning, moving around, and then starting my day is completely different. And I notice a difference now if I do skip a workout for whatever reason. I notice the difference throughout the day, and I'm so much less productive. So that's my big key. If you can do nothing else in the morning, spend half an hour getting your heart rate up.
I agree with you. Like, I don't know if you've ever read the 5 a.m. Club with
I have.
yeah, Ravi Sharma. I read it last year or maybe the year before last year, I think. And I was like, that's it. I'm a 5 a.m. And I used to be up at 5 a.m. in Australia all the time because that's just the lifestyle there. Get up,
Mm.
go to the gym or go to yoga. And you're like in that, you're naturally living the 5 a.m. club all the time. And I found it really hard when I came home because I am slightly lazy. I'm not going to pretend I'm not, but I am. And I actually think like getting up and doing any type of work, exercise, even if it's like 5 sun salutations or whatever amount of jumping
Hmm.
jacks if you're a crazy person, whatever you're into yourself, like, but getting the heart rate up, it really does make a huge difference. It's
Yeah.
like starting the engine. I'm a bit the opposite though. I start with meditation and then I'm like, okay, now I'll get up and do some yoga because I need that extra like half an hour of meditating and breath
That's fair.
work to like
Get yourself out of bed.
I just need a little extra second. What I loved that you said there was starting your morning with intention. I think so many of us just get out of bed, put on whatever we're going to put on, get into the shower, don't eat breakfast, don't look after ourselves. And
Hmm.
then we kind of like the day just goes. We're like, oh,
Where's that gone?
was I supposed to do something today? But having that day with intention, so important. Do you set a daily intention or do like a daily visualization or how do you set your intention for the day?
So I use a system called the Full Focus Planner, and what they suggest is that you set a weekly big three. So over the
Mhm.
week, you pick, because we've all got to-do lists that are the length of our arm, and you're never going to get them all done. So pick the top three things that you kind of absolutely have to get done this week, and then you break those down into your daily big three. So every morning, I will decide like, okay, so this is my weekly big three. What is it that I need to get done today? That so that I can get my weekly big three done. So I'll do that every morning and pick the three things that absolutely have to be done today. And then if I get other things done, amazing. But I don't
Yeah.
have to. Like you kind of take the pressure off yourself. You don't have to get 100 things done. You just have to get three. And I do that every morning.
How nice and easy does that sound? Like just focusing on the top three. I actually love the full focus planner. I'm like right there with you. Like
It is awesome.
it's a game changer, especially for women who are running businesses
Mm.
or are like you are running a business and you work 9 to 5. Like so you kind of need some sort of like thing to just like get your focus down. And I have a really funny question for you. You might be like, I've already answered this, but because you work full time, plus you're running a business and you're coaching high performance women, which I would assume is a lot more intense than just coaching a
Mhm.
regular set of women. How do you prevent burnout?
So yeah, great question. Um, so I think it helps that I am obviously a high performer myself, so the pace of it I kind of enjoy. But I absolutely give myself the off time. So my evening routine, as I mentioned, is kind of key for that. And giving myself an hour at the end of every day to unwind for sure. And then one other thing I do is on a Friday evening and Saturday, the whole day on a Saturday, I don't have to do anything productive. I could sit in my pajamas for 24 hours if I felt like it,
Nice.
um, and just switch off for an entire day. And then I'll go back to doing things on Sunday and being productive again. But yeah, I give myself the Friday evening and the full day on Saturday just to unwind and do whatever it is that I feel like doing. Because yeah, I think it is really important to make sure that you've got that time set aside. And I also think because I know I've got that time, if the rest of the week is slightly busier, I don't really mind because I know I like once I've got through all this at the end of the week, I've got that period of time where I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same. Oh, sorry, hitting all the things here. I will work until about maybe 2 o'clock today, and then I will clean the house and I'll do like
Mm.
chores and things that I like because I don't know about you, but environment is really important to me. Like how the house looks, feels, smells, all of those things are so important to my productivity. And like I'm saying to my brother, like my human design is like living in a cave is what suits me best, but it needs to be a neat cave.
Yeah. For sure.
And he was like, yeah, it does sound like you, solitude and cave. Yeah, see that.
Yeah.
So like environment is really, really important. I would love to know what is the
Sorry,
number.
just before you jump off of environment, I
Oh,
completely agree. I got into a habit of every Monday morning, I clean my desk. Just I take everything off and I clean it, because it's got electrical equipment on it, so everything just gets dusty, which you don't really notice. But I
yeah.
just find if I on a Monday morning, I'll clean the desk so that it's nice and ready for a new week. And yeah, it's just a little habit that I got myself into, and I just yeah, I think environment is really important.
It's so important. Actually, it's really funny that you mentioned desk. I worked in a company, I'm not going to name names because I don't know whether I'm allowed to or not, but I used to work for a business and they had a clean desk policy where your desk had to be spotless at the end of the day before you left
Oh
the
wow.
office. And your manager's job was actually to like check to see if people were living by clean desk.
Oh
And if
wow.
it's not a desk today, it is absolute chaos. But at the end of every day, it's absolutely spotless. It's a new
Yeah.
habit that I've put in for February is that at the end of the day, the desk must be spotless. It must have nothing on it. Everything must be like organized by what I'm doing the next day. So the journal, my to-do pad. Yeah, I'm like, oh,
I love
I
it.
feel way more productive. Now it is messy because I literally have just come off human design calls and preparing for speaking to you, my love. But but it is, it just totally changes the like
Amazing.
vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
What is so with high performance women, what are the common things that they're like struggling with or trying to get a handle on that you're helping them with?
So generally it's that they've got lots of things that they want to do or get done or achieve, and they just don't really know how to manage it all and get things done and that kind of thing. So we spend time looking at how they're spending their time, because a lot of us feel like we've got no time, but we've all got the same 24 hours in a day. It's just how you use them that's important.
Yeah.
So we'll look at things like that, and then we'll set out kind of a roadmap of what goals you want to hit, what's the actions that you need to take to get there, what you can be doing on a daily basis to kind of kickstart your productivity, if you feel like you're being slightly unproductive. And yeah, I think one of my key skills is probably my time management. So I do a lot of work with them around how I manage my time and how they can kind of improve their kind of time management to get everything done.
Oh, I am like the worst for time management. One tip on how to manage your time better.
Time blocking in your
Ugh,
calendar for sure.
I knew you
So
were going to
actually, one of
say
my
that.
one of my flatmates saw my calendar this morning and was like, "Oh my God, your calendar is so busy." But it's because I block everything. So if I've got things that I know I need to get done, I will book the time in my calendar so I know when I'm going to do it. So at the beginning of a week, I might feel stressed about knowing what I need to get done, but then I can kind of let it go because I know I've booked the time in the calendar. So I know that on Thursday, I'm going to get that done. So for the next 3 days, I can kind of just forget about it until it comes up on my calendar. And yeah, I'm a big fan of time blocking.
Oh my God, you would absolutely kick me out of being your client. I time block all the time and I
And then
never
you
stick
move it.
to it. Oh, I'm just like, I'm a fluid person. I'm like, rigid time blocking. You can't mess with me. I'm lighting my incense and I'm going to pray right now. Like, bugger off. So time blocking and I are not best friends, but I'm trying. It's like, I'm really trying, but I'm really, really trying. Um, where can we find out more about you, Lixie?
On my Instagram. So my handle is Life with Lixie, all one word, and that's LIXXY. And then I also have a community on Facebook as well. So if you just search for High Performance Women, you can come in there and we can talk about all things high performance and managing your time, etc., etc.
I love it. And I know that you have something that you are going to share with the audience, with the listeners, and also the Single Women's Empowerment Club. Can you tell us a little bit more about that too?
I can. So it's a little guide that I put together called how to skyrocket your productivity. So it's kind of the 4 key things that I think everybody kind of needs to implement to help skyrocket their productivity. And it's absolutely things that everyone can do. So yeah, we'll get you guys the link so you can get that downloaded.
Amazing. I'm totally downloading it because I always think I'm really productive. And then I do my end of week review and I'm like, what? Why haven't I not fired myself? Where is my P45 or whatever they call it these days? Oh, amazing. Lixie, like, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate your time. And also, I love the tips that you've given. Molly is also very appreciative. She's here nudging away to let you know.
Thank you for having me. It's been
No
wonderful.
problem. And I'm going to put the link for your Skyrocket Your Productivity underneath the show. And it's going to be in the Single Women's Empowerment Club. And it's going to be in the show notes for anybody who wants it. If you are listening on Apple or Spotify, please leave a 5-star review and let us know what you thought of the show. And if you want to get in touch with Lixie, she is on Instagram. Give us your Instagram handle again so that we have it.
Life with Lixie.
Life with Lixie. And if you want to get in touch with me, it is at Christina Rose Coaching. We would love to hear from you. So get in touch. Lixie, again, thank you so, so much for your time. And thank you so much for joining me live. And I just love you. You're so fun. You're so
Thanks,
fun.
you too.
Yeah,
it's been great.
You. I really wanted to get into Star Wars and Star Trek with you, but I feel like I just don't
So
know.
we can just do another half an hour just on Star Wars. I don't know.
There's only so much that I know, so it'll be 5 minutes for me. All right. We will see you guys live in the group next week. We've got another very exciting speaker. And for those of you on the podcast, thank you for listening. And I can't wait to share the next episode with you.